Welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is, well, to cut through all the noise and really get to the core of describing human character.
Exactly. We're diving into those sources you provided, those mock personality tests, the vocabulary lists,
Hmm.
and we're extracting the really precise strategic language for talking about personality traits.
And this isn't just about, learning a bunch of new adjectives.
Not at all. We're drilling down into the words that help define who someone is deep down. Personality, really, it's that unique pattern of thinking, feeling, behaving consistently.
Right.
And we're focusing on character traits, those special internal qualities, not physical stuff today, strictly the psychological side.
And for you listening, this is just really useful stuff, tactically useful.
Definitely.
Whether you're trying to understand a new colleague or figure out a friendship dynamic, maybe prep for a big meeting, having the right words is powerful.
It allows for nuance, doesn't it?
Right.
Instead of just guessing or assuming.
Totally. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with some traits from those example scenarios in the source material. Traits that have some real social weight to them.
Yeah, the mock test results gave us a great starting point, especially around openness and how people communicate.
Absolutely. Let's kick off with outgoing. Seems pretty foundational.
Mhm.
The sources define it simply. Someone comfortable talking to strangers, people they don't know well. The person who actually enjoys starting conversations.
Right, the natural opposite being shy. But let's maybe pivot to something a bit different, less about interaction, more internal belief, superstitious.
Ah, that's a good one. It really speaks volumes about how someone sees the world, doesn't it?
It does. Being superstitious, it's believing certain actions or maybe objects bring good or bad luck, like avoiding ladders.
Or opening an umbrella inside, or maybe wearing that same lucky shirt for every single big event.
Exactly, those kinds of things. It's about those cause and effect beliefs that aren't, well, scientifically proven.
Then we get to naive.
Hmm.
At its simplest, the sources say it means generally believing things you're told, mostly because you lack experience or maybe judgment.
Yeah, like the example of someone new in town believing a street vendor about a fake antique watch. That's naive. Comes from lack of exposure.
Okay, but here's where the analysis gets, well, critical. The sources really hammer home that calling an adult naive can be quite offensive.
It really can.
Why is that? What's the social danger there?
Well, I think it's about what's implied versus what's said. Calling someone naive isn't just noting inexperience.
Right.
It often implies a lack of critical thinking, maybe even suggests they're easily fooled or manipulated. That cuts deeper than just saying, oh, you're new at this.
Ah, okay, so it questions their judgment fundamentally.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So you need real care using it. Often it's probably better just to describe the specific action or belief
Yeah.
rather than slapping on the label naive.
That's a really sharp strategic point right there. Okay,
Yeah.
let's shift gears slightly. The source material groups two traits as clearly negative, reckless and clumsy.
Mm-hmm. Reckless. That's defined as doing things without really thinking through the consequences, the foreseeable ones. And often, those actions are dangerous.
It's like driving without a seatbelt, maybe, or ignoring safety rules just to finish faster.
Exactly. There's a definite disregard for the potential outcome.
And then clumsy, the person who's always tripping, dropping things, bumping into stuff.
Yeah, and the sources gave us that great synonym, butterfingers.
Huh, yeah, butterfingers.
Yeah.
So, why pair these two? Reckless feels mental, clumsy feels physical.
Well, what's fascinating here is that connection. Clumsy is about lacking physical coordination, right?
Uh-huh.
And reckless is about lacking mental foresight or caution. But they both often result in something going wrong, things get broken, people get hurt.
I see. One's physical chaos, the other's cognitive chaos. But the result is often similar negative impact.
That's a good way to put it. Chaos is the common thread.
Okay, makes sense. So we've looked at traits involving openness, belief, and then this kind of negative chaos. Love pivot now. Let's talk about control, achievement, ambition. The professional power words.
Ah, yes, the positive attributes.
Mm.
These are gold, especially when you need to describe yourself, say, in a professional context.
Like a job interview, you need these.
Absolutely. This vocabulary can really make an applicant stand out. We can start with extroverted.
Right, extroverted. We mentioned outgoing earlier, and this is a strong synonym. Someone who thrives in social settings, comfortable with new people.
And the word parts help, right? Extro, meaning out or outside.
Mm-hmm.
And the opposite, introvert, intro meaning in. That's the person who's maybe quieter, enjoys solitude, finds big social events draining.
And it's important to say neither is inherently better.
No, absolutely not. But extroverted is often perceived as an advantage in roles that need a lot of interaction, high visibility roles.
Okay. Moving towards performance. Diligent.
Oh, diligent. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Probably top of the list for any manager or teacher.
It means doing a job thoroughly, carefully, on time. Not just getting it done, but getting it done right.
Exactly. It implies care and conscientiousness.
Now, for a word that feels, well, grander, magnanimous.
Magnanimous. Yes, it carries real weight. You could just say generous, but magnanimous elevates it.
How so?
It describes someone who acts for the benefit of others, showing great generosity of spirit, often on a larger scale. Not just small acts of kindness, but thinking about the well-being of others more broadly.
Okay, so buying coffee is generous.
Right.
But donating a big chunk of your salary to earthquake victims, like in the source example, that's magnanimous. It implies a kind of nobility, self-sacrifice beyond just being nice day to day.
Precisely. It suggests leadership qualities, a bigger perspective. And speaking of influence, if you want to capture someone's skill in leading through words, you'd use eloquent.
Ah, eloquent, a really good speaker, persuasive, someone who commands language, makes people really listen and absorb. They just sound impressive.
Yes, there's a grace and power to their speech.
Our final one in this power list is daring, someone who dares to take risks.
Daring, yes.
This feels like the perfect follow-up to reckless. How do they differ? Daring sounds positive, mostly.
It often is. The sources show daring lives on that edge. It's positive when, say, a daring entrepreneur takes calculated risks for innovation.
Calculated risks. Okay, so where's the line? When does daring tip over into being negative, like reckless?
I think it comes down to that calculation and maybe intent. Reckless action lacks careful thought about the odds. Daring implies taking a risk with assessment. Understanding the downside but believing the potential upside justifies that measured chance.
So jumping out of a plane with a dodgy parachute is reckless.
Really reckless, yeah.
But launching a meticulously planned but totally new product, that's daring.
Exactly. Risk, but informed risk.
That distinction is super helpful. So if you, the listener, are in an interview using words like diligent, eloquent, perhaps even daring, they offer much more substance than just saying, I'm hardworking or I'm a good speaker.
Absolutely. They show deeper self-awareness. Now, maybe we should broaden out again. Look at those big lists of positive and negative traits from the sources.
Yeah, the lists are quite long. Maybe we can group them. Common traits, like how they shape social interactions.
Good idea.
Yep.
On the positive side, there's a cluster around cooperation and trust, right? Friendly, kind, honest.
And honest means telling the truth and admitting mistakes, according to the sources.
Yes, crucial point. Then you have patient, generous, polite good manners, respect. These make daily life work smoothly.
The social glue.
And there are traits more about getting things done, self-management maybe, hardworking, confident, believing in yourself, creative. These drive things forward.
Okay. And the flip side, the negative traits that cause friction. Instead of listing them all, which ones did the sources highlight as particularly disruptive?
Well, arrogance stood out. Someone who thinks they're fundamentally better than everyone else. That just poisons teamwork.
Totally. And stubborn.
Ah, stubborn. The person who won't budge on their opinion. Kills compromise, creates huge friction.
Right. And bossy, too, just telling people what to do.
Yes. Undermines collaboration entirely. These aren't just descriptions. They're like relationship hazards. They actively cause problems.
Hazards, yeah. Good word. Okay, so beyond just single adjectives, the sources also grouped traits into broader personality types, kind of like quick character sketches.
Yes, 5 main types seem to emerge pretty consistently across the materials.
Okay, what were they?
First, the outgoing person. Loves meeting people, talkative, gets energy from groups.
Got it.
Second, the quiet person. Doesn't talk a lot, thoughtful, enjoys being alone or with just a few people, usually calm.
Okay.
Third, the funny person. Cheerful, maybe a bit silly, loves making people laugh. The entertainer.
Right.
Fourth, the serious person. Really focused on work, responsibilities, organized, reliable, hardworking, very task-oriented. And fifth, the kind and caring person. Their main drive seems to be helping others, loving, generous, focused on relationships and well-being.
Those are really useful categories. But what's fascinating here is thinking about what happens when some of those good traits, those professional power words like serious, hardworking, maybe even extroverted, what happens when they go too far?
Yes. This is where the sources bring in the concept of the type A personality.
Type A, I've heard that.
It's that cluster of behaviors where positive traits like ambition and diligence really cross over into becoming, well, problematic.
How so?
The type A person, according to the sources, works incredibly hard, is very serious, but they're often quite anxious, stressed. There's this relentless pressure, this need to get things done immediately.
Okay, intense.
And that intensity, that drive, often comes out as needing control. The sources describe type A people as frequently controlling, not very easygoing, and often this is critical.
Poor listeners.
Poor listener. Because the focus is so intense on their own goals, their own speed, that they can just steamroll over others' needs or pace. It shows how even high-performing traits, if they aren't balanced with things like patience or flexibility, can actually become negative in a team.
Wow. That's a really important nuance. Okay, so we've covered a lot, from the subtle offense of calling someone naive to the calculated risk of being daring, even the potential dark side of type A ambition. So what does this all mean? What's the big takeaway? I think the sources consistently emphasize that learning this vocabulary helps us do basically three key things.
Yeah.
Understand people better, communicate more effectively, especially with different kinds of people, and crucially, avoid misunderstandings by using more precise language.
Absolutely. And this knowledge, it's really most powerful when you turn it on yourself. The sources challenge us.
Yeah.
Use this vocabulary for self-description. Are you more extroverted and diligent?
Mhm.
Or maybe quiet and magnanimous? Understanding yourself is the first step.
Yeah, that self-reflection piece is key. And that actually leads perfectly into our final provocative thought for you, the listener.
Okay.
You know that standard job interview question, what's your biggest weakness or what's your biggest fault?
Ugh. Yes. Always tricky.
Right. The sources just touched on this idea of framing negative traits as self-awareness. So the challenge is this. How would you honestly describe yourself using one of the negative traits we talked about? Maybe admitting you can be a bit stubborn or perhaps moody sometimes or even clumsy. How would you frame that honestly but still position it as something you're aware of and actively managing?
Wow. That is a challenge. It's the ultimate test of eloquence and, well, honesty, isn't it? You have to own the fault without completely sinking your professional image.
Exactly.
Definitely food for thought.